And so the oathbreakers are here. We can now field undead armies in our oathmark games. So I just received my copy of Oathbreakers. So I want to talk a little bit about it. Skipping straight to the undead armies section, you have all your typical undead from skellies all the way up to revenants and barrel worms and a few new creatures for your armies. And the cool thing is that you can have actual undead kingdoms, not just like supplemental undead for existing armies. So that's really cool. There is a new terrain type table. And so you can have a necropolis now, which takes the place of a capital, and a number of other terrain types to create your undead kingdom. So this is really, really cool. Or you can add these terrain types to existing kingdoms. Now, looking at a skeletal soldier, this is a typical skeletal soldier. Notice that the activation is a 3, and that is excellent for the amount of points that you're paying. If you play Oathmark, you know that activation is key. So a 3 activation is just like an elf soldier. That's pretty good. And again, here is a close-up of that skeletal skeletal soldier stat, and we have movement of 6 and all the other typical kind of stats. They have defense of 9, which is not great, CD1, H1, but considering that activation, they are well worth it. And now we also have skeletal light catapults as a unit, which was kind of expected if you're going to have a skeleton army. But the cool thing is that these are not made of bone or anything like that. You don't need any special models. You can pretty much have any kind of catapult you want. And that's really cool. Here is a barrel worm, and I separated this stat because notice the activation. It's an 8. So you're going to have a hard time trying to activate these guys, but then again, look at the defense. It's 12 and a CD of 5 and 16 health. But the points, 312. A very expensive unit. I probably won't be fielding any barrel worms anytime soon. And as always, the book has great art. So, great job there. There's a lot of cool art in this book. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the legendary heroes section. Now in this book we can include legendary heroes in our armies, and that's cool because aside from champions and captains and other high commanding characters, we now have legendary heroes one step up, right? So this adds a little bit of complexity to the rules, and that's fine. Depending on the legendary hero you want, you will be paying the points values for that hero. Here I really like this piece of artwork, which is why I'm showing it. I believe those are goblins, actually. So still, this is an example of a troll legendary hero, which is cool that you can actually make a troll legendary. And just to give you an idea of all the different special abilities. So you're going to be adding Murderous Blow is a new special ability, and that sounds really interesting. So... And there is also an experience point table for legendary heroes, which kind of sets them apart from other characters and higher ranking models in your army. And this is really cool. I like this. It allows your legendary hero to grow. Now, just like Frostgrave, and this is interesting, your legendary heroes do have to roll on a table at the end of the game, and this determines, if they're dead, captured, gravely wounded. That brings some interesting narrative opportunities if your legendary hero is captured. And that is, of course, when your legendary hero is removed from the table, he's not exactly dead. So... nice artwork here too. This one's similar to one of the ones I saw in the book. I think this is a repeat from one of the other books, maybe the Oathmark Core Rules. Still a great piece of art. I like it. Okay, and so heroes, there are new heroic traits, so you will be getting quite a few heroic traits for those legendary heroes. And so that's pretty cool. There's some really cool things here like Blade Storm, Arcane Knowledge. Those are just a couple of the examples. And one cool thing is they tie legendary heroes to the battle honor system in the first expansion, Battlesworn. So that's really cool. We just started adding Battlesworn rules to our games of Oathmark. So it'll be interesting to connect, all of these expansions together. So that's great. Military expeditions section, that's where you're going to find all of your battle types. So some new battle types, which is great because it changes things a little bit. And it's 3 additional battle types, which they call military expeditions. And there's a good fight scene between humans and dwarves, it looks like. And that's one thing I love about Oathmark is the fact that, your fantasy races are not as important. You can have alliances between all the races, which is very different from your typical fantasy games. All right, and so you will get new scenarios as well, and that's cool. I haven't really read through the scenarios. I can't say much about them yet. But skimming through some of them, there are some very interesting scenarios. And that, of course, adds to the game and expands it more. So it's great that we have new scenarios now. And this is one of my favorite undead art pieces. I just love the way they depict the skellies. And there is a necromancer leading them, which... you can have either a necromancer as a king or a revenant king or something. That is really cool. And there is my absolute favorite Skelly warrior art depiction. And that pretty much ends the book. I mean, you do get a new sheet to keep track of legendary heroes. So it's just a complete little expansion. Okay, and in preparation for the undead army that I want to build for Oathmark, so I can challenge Julie, here are these skeletal figures that I'm putting together from Warlords of Erewhon. Okay, and these are the little skellies. And I am actually using green stuff on some of these to put them together. It just works a lot better. And when I painted any of these extra bits, I paint either as dry flesh or cloth. One of the things I want to say about these skellies, now that I have you here, is that they are not easy to put together. One of the problems that you will find is that the little feet, notice how tiny those are. The little feet, this is how they come separate. So you have to, what I'm doing is actually gluing the little feet onto the base, letting it dry, and then taking my legs, gluing the legs there, let them dry, and finally put my little torso on there, right? So I'm kind of building them little by little because they have so many parts. Now, the other thing is, notice that the weapon, I had to glue the weapon to the hand. And in a way that's good because I can, here's the sprue. Notice how everything comes apart. I can take these weapons and really customize, between the weapons and the type of little arm that I use. But it does lengthen the process, okay? So I just wanted to show this and kind of show you, tell you guys how these skellies come together so you can kind of make up your mind. Now, notice the swords here. I will have to put those together with their corresponding little hand. So in a way, it allows customization, but in another way, it can be a nightmare to put together. So far, however, I have to say, I'm not encountering any problems putting weapons on the little hands. They actually do fit very well. And so what I'm doing is slowly building these, putting the weapons on the hands first, letting them dry a little bit, then attaching them to the figure. And the green stuff is really helping to get things together. So I'm using my little green stuff here, and that's how I'm going to put most of them together. So I have quite a bit of work with this kit. And then this is the old Tomb King, and notice how the skellies from Warlords of Erewhon are actually quite small compared to that skelly from Tomb Kings, my old Tomb Kings. I don't care. I will be using them together, even though they're kind of funny looking together. But I will have to make something in the narrative, or maybe, this will be like a hero skelly or something, a legendary hero or something. So he's bigger, he's more robust. So I have about 10 of these left, or 8 of these that I found, so I'll be using them. And here's another example, and I really love these, and these are a little smaller, and so a little more compatible to the skellies, the new skellies that I have. And I will be also putting Mantic Games Revenant kit. That will those will be my revenants. That's what I will use. So again, good kit, but very detailed, but it is a bit advanced. It's a bit of a pain to get these guys together. So green stuff is helping out, and I hope that I can get them together in a reasonable amount of time, because they are nice skellies.